Hey everybody, Ben here from DMC Films, and I'm back with more tips for the first-time painter. Now when you go to your local art supply store, you might see a palette, something like this. Granted this one's covered in paint, but you get the idea. Something that round, something with a hole in it, something you can get your thumb through and hold while painting. And while you can buy these pretty much anywhere that sells paint or brushes or that kind of thing, buying one, much like this, is kind of unnecessary. Because there's a lot of things around that work just like this, but you may not think of right away. Now whether you're buying a pre-made palette or you're just using something of your own, you want to make sure the surface you're using to mix your paint on is non-absorbent. Now if the surface is absorbent, your paint's going to seep in and dry much like it would on a stretched canvas. To give you guys an idea of what kind of things you can use, let me show you what I've used over the years. Now this is a piece of marble. It's usually used in flooring and that kind of thing. This is just a scrap piece that we had laying around. And the cool thing about using something like a surface like this is you have a nice smooth surface, and if once your paint dries on it and you're all finished using it, you can take a razor blade knife and scrape off the dry and excess paint, and then reuse the surface. The next item that makes a very good palette is actually a piece of glass. Now this is just, your regular piece of glass. Maybe you find this in a window, maybe you took a piece of glass out of a frame. Now working with a piece of glass or anything that's completely clear, one thing you want to do note is if you're using a lot of different colors, you want to make sure you're on a surface where you can see those colors through the palette. On normal palettes you can just see the colors right on the surface, but if you put something underneath you can see the colors on top of it. Usually something white will work very well. Darker colors, you may not see the vibrance of the colors. Much like the marble, once your paint is dry, you can again take a razor blade knife, scrape it off, and infinitely reuse the surface as a palette. The last and probably most common surface you probably find in your local store is just a plastic plate. Now you can use a foam plate or a paper plate, but you want to make sure they have a nice coating between what you're mixing your paint on and the surface itself. If it's a cheap foam plate, or if it's a paper plate without any plastic coating, your paint's going to seep right into it, and any water you add will just completely ruin your palette surface. Now a pack of these plastic plates you can find pretty much anywhere that you're going to pick up your regular paper plate or foam plate, and you can find these in packs of 7 or 8, and a pack of these will last me personally about 10 months. And that really depends on how much you paint. If you're painting more than once a week, obviously they're going to last you a little less time, and if you're painting even less than once a week, say once a month, a pack of these will last you a very, very long time. Because not only can you use the single plate surface, but once those are kind of caked on and dried, you can flip it over and use the other side. Now unlike smoother surfaces like the glass or the stone, sometimes you can't always scrape off the paint. It tends to adhere to the plastic a little bit more, and for that reason they're more disposable and you can't reuse them nearly as much. Now these have just been 3 options that you can find and use on your own. Granted, not everything's going to work for every single person, and there's going to be some little variance here and there. If you find another material that works, great, perfect. It's just a palette. Many are disposable, many are reusable. It all depends on what you want to find for yourself. And as always, for more tips, tutorials, and other art videos, please stay tuned to the DMC Films channel here on YouTube. This has Ben. See you guys next time.